Welcome to Beans and Breakdowns, a podcast dedicated to bridging the gap between specialty coffee and the heavy music community. On this episode, I'm joined by Jayway, the vocalist of the New Jersey band Bayway. Super excited for this one. So grab a fresh cup of coffee and wake the fuck up. What's going on, Caffeinated Crew? On this episode, joined by Jayway from Bayway. What's going on?
How we doing, man? How we living?
We got New Jersey in the house, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Our not so far neighbors.
Fog Chaser, you know what I'm saying? Get it sponsored by the Keurig Fog Chaser.
Yo, if I could get a Keurig, that would be the most savage sponsor to have for a coffee podcast. Could you imagine a Keurig sponsorship?
Dude, it's like one of the best fucking things I ever got from my studio. Like, it only does one cup, but like, if you saw how often I'm standing in front of it per day, like, it's like 7 times I'm just standing in front of it like, come on, baby.
Hurry up.
Give me that beautiful liquid so I get through this day.
You do the Fog Chaser, you said?
I do the Fog Chaser, but I'm all over the place, man. You know what I'm saying? Hazelnut sometimes. I also I really fuck with chai lattes. So that's like my thing. Like when I'm singing and shit like that, I like tea. So I do that through the Keurig too. But in the morning, of course, we're starting with that Fog Chaser.
Is it like a darker roast coffee?
No, it's not that bad. I think it's medium.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's medium. It doesn't have like that. I don't know. It's like somewhere between like a bitter. You know what I mean? It's not super, super bitter, but it's not like light in its taste.
Right.
That makes any sense.
Do you fuck with dirty chai lattes? You had that before?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a goated drink.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like people don't recognize that as often as they should.
I feel like because people are like, I don't really like coffee, so I get chai latte. And I'm like, well, try a dirty chai. And then they're like, oh, that sounds interesting. And
yeah, at this point in my life, I'm like converting into my grandfather. I don't have any type of sweetener or anything in my coffee. Like I just drink my coffee black. Mm-hmm. So I'm like very particular. I start my day off. Like I usually at my house, I like to, there's actually this brand of coffee called Catholic coffee that I really, really fuck with. It just tastes really, really good. I don't even understand. Like, I like the religious iconography of it all. So like, that's what drew me to it at first. But then like, as I started to like drink it, I'm like, yo, this tastes better than other shit. But I like whole bean. I like to like grind it myself. And then I make everything in a percolator like my grandfather did when I was a kid. So
yeah. That's
like my whole like ritual in the morning is like, come downstairs, grind my shit, you know what I'm saying? Put it in a percolator, let it go. And then I come back and drop my kid off from school and just bang 3 cups of that shit and start my day.
God damn. I do similar, but I do it like with a pour over.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just 1 cup and it takes 5 minutes and it's like a nice like meditative thing to do, you know?
Yeah. I used to smoke a ton of weed like before I got sober. Mm-hmm. And this has like sort of replaced like the act of like rolling a joint and like, you know, all like the ritualistic things that go on with weed, like the breaking it up, the rolling the joint, all that stuff. And like, so now I have like my coffee ritual, you know, that's what's taken its place.
That's kind of like, I used to smoke cigarettes. Like I did like a pack a day for like 3 years.
Yeah.
And I tried doing the vape, and the vape is just replacing it with something still bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I never fucked with vaping. Like, I never liked it. It was like always weird to me. And like, I started smoking cigarettes. I think I was like 11 when I started smoking. And I smoked forever. And then I don't know, man, for me, like, I'm weird in the sense that like, as soon as I decide to stop doing something, like I stop doing it that day. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just like cold turkey. Like, I'm never going to do that again. And that's what happened with cigarettes. Like, one day I was just like, I don't know, this makes me sick. And I never did it again.
I wish I could do that, but unfortunately I could not. And so I was doing vape for like a year. My wife's like, you gotta stop. Like you cannot do this anymore.
Yeah, you're replacing bad with bad.
Yeah. So coffee kind of took that place, which was cool because I had worked in coffee before while I was still smoking. And then I realized that when I stopped smoking and drink coffee, it tastes way better.
You can smell it too. Like everything smells crazy when you're done smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, like for the first like year after stopping smoking, you can taste everything so much better. It's crazy. So
it's like when you get your taste buds back after that first run with COVID. You're like, oh man, damn.
No joke.
This tastes delicious. Holy shit.
I remember getting COVID the first time and I brewed a cup of like crazy coffee and I drank it. I was like, this tastes like shit. What the fuck?
Yeah, I know.
And then I was like, oh, the COVID is really that bad.
Dude, my wife was making me this soup with like mad garlic in it. And I was eating it for like, because garlic's antiviral and shit. Mm-hmm. So I'm like eating it for like a week. And I'm like fucking with it, I'm eating it. Finally, my taste buds come back. She gives it to me. I tasted it. I was like, what the fuck is this? This is fucking terrible. I can't believe I was eating this shit for a week. It was like straight garlic, bro. It was disgusting.
Yeah, but
hey, I'm still here. You know what I'm
saying? When your taste buds are blind, you just got to get it down.
100%. That shit brought me back though. I was like, oh my God. Oh, it made me never want to taste again.
That's sick. I mean, that's how you know you're better, right?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
I got something this morning from the shop by my house. It's from Pilot, which is from Toronto.
Okay.
But this is a cool coffee that I haven't seen from them. It's called Catalan from Guatemala. And it's this like variety of coffee.
Okay.
That's pretty. So, like you've heard Arabica before, right?
Yeah.
But then under Arabica, that's like the tree. There's all these different varieties that like are all kind of regional. Like South America has a lot, and then Ethiopia, obviously. But this one's called a Amargo Gipe, which is like, it's kind of like died off a bit and then it came back. They like re-grew it in a lab or some shit like that. So it's got like watermelon, honey, and it tastes like tea.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's wild.
That's really interesting.
So, and it's almost cold.
I fuck with all things honey. So like, you know what I mean? Anything with that in it, I'm sure I could drink. Watermelon is an interesting flavor though for coffee. It's like an interesting note.
Soft, like it's super soft. Yeah.
That's cool though. That's cool.
So I drink a lot of like juicy coffees, if that makes sense. Like with a lot of like Skittles kind of flavors, and but this literally when you make like a nice tea with honey, like a black tea. Yeah. That's kind of what this tastes like.
That's cool. That's interesting as fuck. And it's coffee?
It's coffee.
It's still caffeinated.
Straight up. Like it's way more caffeine than tea.
Yeah.
I don't really fuck with tea like that. So
I have started to only because of like singing and shit. Like I use like the throat coat.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But also like certain like levels, like, after a show or whatever, like I've dapped up like 700 people. You know what I mean? I've literally touched hands with like every motherfucker on the planet. So like I started getting into like immunity teas and supplements and shit like that. Cause like I'm a very personable person. Like I like to bullshit with people. That's the part of hardcore that I enjoy. Like I like talking to people. I enjoy that. So like, I know though that like, it is what it is, bro. Germs is germs. It's 2025. Yeah. We're here. So I just, I started drinking teas and shit that kind of support, better healthy habits, I guess. Keep me straight, keep me right.
Is it like the emergency stuff, like the packets, or what do you?
When I'm on a road, I use like the emergency packets and shit because it's just like, there's no real, like you can't. The U.S. is crazy with traveling, so it's like if you travel with a half a vitamin, they're like, "What are you doing?
That's crazy.
What's in here?" You know what I mean? You're like, "Come on, man! It's an elderberry gummy.
Yeah,
it must be weed." I'm like, not for me. But yeah, so like I travel with like the emergency packets and shit like that, or just pick them up at like a Walgreens whenever we land. But yeah, when I'm home, I like to use like the throat coat tea and shit like that. Just get me right. And then whatever like local honey to try to avoid the allergies, you know?
Yeah. Local honey's super important.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that shit.
Yeah. Especially for some reason this year, I guess because we had like an actual winter where snow fell and it stayed kind of, and it just, I guess, like, you know, provided proper amounts of nutrients. It is just pollen city out here right now. It's insane. Everything is just green coated.
I do not miss that shit. Like Montreal, people bitch about the spring and the pollen. They're like, there's pollen everywhere. I'm like, I'm from Savannah, dude. It's like, if you walk outside, your car looks like it's snowed pollen.
I was just in North Carolina, like for Easter, right? And it was insane. It was like literal thick coating. But I love Savannah though. Savannah's nice as shit.
Yeah, I went back in the winter, yes. And it was like 40 degrees and my mom's like, it's freezing. And I'm like, Mom, it's minus 20 back home right now. Like, so.
Yeah, Canada's rugged, man. That's why I chose July.
Yeah, I mean, I respect that.
Yeah.
It'll actually be hot.
I was like, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do Florida in December. We're going to Texas when it's cold. We're going to fucking Canada when it's fucking hot.
That's what, man. And this is the thing. When we're planning dates too, I'm like, let's go south when it's colder, and we'll stick around the Northeast and shit, like Midwest in the summer.
Yeah, no doubt. I think we did like one of our first runs with Bayway where we were like really traveling. We went to Chicago, and it was like peak winter, like to the point where we got into the car to drive back to the airport, and it was like negative 15 or some crazy shit, and the entire windshield just cracked. It just spidered. And I was like, because we were in a rental.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, man. Now what are we going to do? But, you know, we wound up like going to the airport, and like I pulled up and the dude was like, this happens all the time. Don't even worry about it. We got insurance on all this shit. And I was like, oh, fantastic.
Hell yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Chicago's a cold ass city.
It was freezing, man.
Yeah.
It was freezing. We had a couple really great shows, but it was definitely cold.
Yeah, you guys were supposed to come with that Hold My Own Ends of Sanity run.
Yeah, I wound up getting strep throat. And, bro, it was disgusting. My throat looked like a beehive.
Like inside?
Yeah, coming out of This Is Hardcore. Like a bunch of people got sick at This Hardcore. But what I got was like next level insane. Like I was like, the first 2 dates that happened for the Ends of Sanity thing, I was like, yeah, maybe we'll be able to get to the third one. And like by the third day, my throat just looked like I had been stung by bees. It was fucking horrendous. Yeah, man, it was bad. Like I couldn't even get out of bed, which like is insane. I didn't have COVID, but I had like whatever I had. I had like strep throat, which as an adult is apparently not great.
Yeah, I haven't experienced strep throat as an adult yet, and I'm gonna knock on wood for that one because
you never have to.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Let me tell you something, man. It was fucked up. I'm not one for canceling. Like that's not who I am. And yeah, it was. I'm like in my bed, just like, you know, like writing, like texting the guys in the band, like, yo, can't talk, can't stand up, deaf, can't sing.
Singing is like, you have to be like in a good spot for all those other things so you can sing. Like
it's really a pain in the ass, you know? Like it really is. Like as a drummer turned guitar player turned singer, I've got to say the whole singing thing is really a pain in the balls, man.
It comes with its pros and cons though. I will say that. I will argue that.
Carry anything.
Exactly. Yeah, I got the mic to be nice.
I don't even do that anymore. Yeah. I brought like a wireless mic. We had a show with like E-Town at this like 2,500 person venue. And I brought a wireless mic and I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna use the wireless mic. And the fucking thing failed on me. I wound up having to use the backup mic. And I'm like, you know what? What am I doing?
No.
What am I doing? Whatever they got there that works, I'll use that. Be fine.
Yeah, I've been a live sound engineer for like about 10 years. And I hate wireless mics. I hate them so much. I'll run 23,000 cables before I will opt.
The thing sounded like dog shit. And it had like this, I don't even know what was wrong with it. But my plan was I was going to use a wireless mic because I wanted to go into the crowd, stand on the bar and sing and make people scream motherfucker at me from the bar.
Right.
And just didn't work out. So I was like on the phone with a friend of mine before we got out there. I'm like, how do I turn this into a hardcore show? You know, like, 'cause it was like a barricade and it's like a bigger venue. And I'm, how the fuck? And he's like, dude, he's like, just don't go too far from the stage, because then once you get far enough from the stage, you're not gonna be able to hear the band, and everything's like an echo.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, fuck. So I just like jumped off the stage, got to the barricade, and was just like in it with the people and tried to like make it a hardcore show, you know? Because like, I don't know. Like we've played a barricade like 2 or 3 times, and every time I find myself off the stage in the barricade, just, you know, letting people scream at me. I just like, it's how I do it, you know?
You got to pull Scott Vogel. Scott Vogel's the best at that.
Yeah, right. Just like getting everybody to get involved, you know?
Yeah. He's like, make the security do their job, get onto the stage.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally where I'm at, you know? That's where I'm at. Shout out to Scott. He's on the new Bayway record, actually.
Hell yeah. I love
the entire band is on the new Bayway record.
That's fucked up. Wait, how does that work?
Well, the lyrics are like, the lyrics were like referencing the Terror Crew. Mm-hmm. So like when I sent it to him, he was like, he sent me this like this voice memo, and he's like, yo, this is too much to text. He's like, I just landed in Cali, and like you introduced us as the Terror Crew. He's like, what if every member of the band sang on the record? And I was like, yes.
You don't even have to ask.
You know, do that. Yeah. And so we wound up getting every dude from Terror's vocals on the record. So it sounds crazy. Like, you know, to get a feature from Scott is awesome. To get the entire Terror Crew is legendary. So it was just it was really cool. And they were so easy to work with and just like excited to do it. And you know, that's hardcore though. You know?
I mean, half the band are already like fucking great vocal. You got Chris from from Cruel Hand. Martine was in Lion Crew and Donnybrook. Nick Jett, isn't he still in the band?
So no, I think. Hold on.
He had that short-lived hip hop.
The three bands that they referenced that I should use as the. Hold on. It was Piece by Piece, right?
That Nick was in. Yeah, but he also did the hip hop stuff for a minute. You remember that?
No, I never heard that.
The booty smell good?
I gotta check that out.
You gotta check that out.
You gotta check that out.
It's fucking stupid. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, it was crazy to be able to get like all them dudes on the record. I can't imagine what it's gonna look like when we finally get to like bring it to the stage.
It's gonna look like the final Minority Unit show when everybody's on stage and you have no idea who's in the band.
Yo, you know what's funny is I saw. I remember when I was a kid, like I first started going to hip hop shows, and I saw Fabulous one time.
Okay.
And I turned to my boy and I go, "Yo, is he even up there?" Because there was like 700 motherfuckers on the stage, and like they all had mics.
Yep.
And I was like, "Yo, you think he's even up there? Or is he just collecting?" You know, because we were like far as fuck back, like you couldn't see anything.
Right.
And I imagine that's what it's going to look like. It's just going to be like, you know, 20 dudes on stage, all microphones, you know? That's insane.
That's the front of house guy's worst nightmare.
Yeah, right, exactly.
20 mics.
Every wedge across the front of the stage gets kicked.
We need every vocal in every wedge.
Yes,
it's like, please. Oh, fuck, dude.
Def mix.
Just send the front of house mix to the wedges. Nah.
It's great when you play like these hardcore fests and all the wedges are gone and it's just side fills.
I like that.
And you get up there and you're like, no, it's great until everyone stands in front of the side fills on either side of the stage. When you have stage Potato City and you're like, I can't hear a thing I'm doing. I hope everyone's reacting so they could hear me, but I can't hear me.
I can't. The only thing that sucks about that is that like you'll blow your voice out in 5 seconds.
Oh, 100%.
Every time.
Yeah. I mean, that's the pleasures of being a singer. You know what I mean? Like I go up there, I play guitar for Shattered Realm, dude. I don't worry about any of that shit. I sing like 5 words during the set. You know what I mean? And as long as my guitar is locked in tuning and I can do dive bombs, I'm all set.
So that's interesting because you started as a drummer.
Yes. Yes.
And then why? So this is a question because I'm a drummer, and then I've had to switch around to other things depending on demand. But like, why switch to guitar if you're the drummer?
So I started playing drums when I was like 5.
Okay.
And I was just like natural at it. So like, without sounding like a total douchebag, it's like a very easy thing for me to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't enjoy it.
Okay.
Right? Like every time I play, people are like, dude, you're fucking nasty. And I'm like, I would rather be doing anything else. You know what I'm saying? Like people are like, dude, you got to play drums in a band. And like, I always wound up stuck doing it because there was no drummers. But I met a kid, I think I was like 13 or 12. I met a kid and he was like, yo, I really want to be a drummer, but he was a guitar player. So we kind of like, he got a drum set and I got a guitar and I was like, okay, I'm going to learn how to play guitar. You learn how to play drums and we'll just learn together. And that was like how my first band started. So the thing is like, I'm happy I started in drums because I write songs rhythmically, like percussive guitar playing. So, but like, I'm happy that I learned guitar because like so much of my sound and like the sound that I've kind of like crafted over the years comes from being able to write.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if you don't have the guitar, you don't have the keys to the writing room.
Right.
You know? And so I think that's like, I didn't really know that then, but like knowing what I know now, I'm so glad that I took the step to learn how to play guitar. I'm pretty sure I learned how to play like 2 songs. I think it was like Paranoid and Crazy Train. After that, I was like, I'm a guitar player. I'm going to move into the writing room now. Everyone's take a step back. I'm going to write a few tunes now. I'm definitely a writer. And that was kind of it. You know, like I learned 2 songs and then that was it. I just started writing songs.
Yeah. So like if music is natural to you, this is what I found is like, if you can just pick up an instrument and start learning, as soon as you like learn how to actually just play it,
yeah,
you can figure that shit out.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like I spent countless hours like just playing, but it was weird because people would always ask in the beginning, like, oh, do you want to do a cover or this, that, or I would get with guitar players who had like theory. Mm-hmm. And I never understood music theory. I never could cover other people's songs because I was just bad at it. Like I never emulated what other people were doing. I kind of like just wanted to do my own thing. And so yeah, it was weird to like a lot of people come up with covers or they come up with and I never could do it. I was like literally just bad at it. I was just like trying to write my own songs. And even though they were god awful, they were mine, you know? And as I like got further and further down the way, it's like, I just sort of developed my own style by not knowing any better. You know, like I had no knowledge of how to write a song. I guess it kind of like worked out to my advantage. You know, like the first band that I got like any notoriety for was You're Spent Cold. And it was just like, you know, senseless breakdowns, but all very rhythmic and different because I was writing it from the perspective of a drummer and just trying to make a guitar do drum stuff, you know? So it was interesting because we had a guitar player who was able to write leads over everything that I was doing. So it made it for a really cool deathcore sound. But, you know, I think had I like learned theory or like had an idea of like what was supposed to be done, I think it would have totally fucked me up. Because I think my advantage was I had no idea what was supposed to happen. So like what I was creating was a little different.
Yeah. I mean, I've known like players who they know so much theory that it's like their downfall.
Yeah, it puts you in a box.
It does. And even like I'm not a musical genius, but I've had to take music theory classes like doing school and stuff. And like when I try to sit down with other people who don't know theory, it's even more difficult sometimes to write because it's like, oh no, you just gotta like you play this certain chord and I'll just throw out the name or something and they're like, what is that? And so it's like, fuck, okay, well, never mind.
Yeah, you know, I think like my advantage when I joined that band was I had no knowledge of what he was doing, but I had a really good idea of what I wanted to do.
Right.
So I would just take my shit and put it over his shit. And I would just like, as he would write, I would play something and get into the same key as him. And once I got there, I was able to sort of like finesse it. And it made for a really unique sound because where I think theory kind of fails people, kind of like makes people do like only what locks you in, right? Like, okay, so I'm in A or whatever, right? So it's like, okay, so now everything, like as a guy who like only thinks in that, like, okay, now everything that I do has to be there. I didn't know anything like that. Like I come from like the Slayer school of like just bend the note until it sounds like it's supposed to be there. And even if it's sour, fuck it, who cares? It's mine, you know?
Yeah.
So like there's sort of like an unfair advantage to that. You know, and I talk about this kind of stuff a lot, like it's sort of unapologetically human. Because it's like, it doesn't sound like everything else because everybody's worried about it sounding right. Whereas I'm just worried about like doing whatever the fuck I want. Like I don't give I like some people give a fuck. I give like a fuck less. Mm-hmm. You know, like I'm just like, nah. Like they're like, oh, you can't do that. Like we need a certain amount of tempo changes. Otherwise this. I'm like, no, not really. Like you don't need anything. What you need is a song that people like. Yeah. You know, like what you need is a song that you like. So like I've always been kind of good at getting people to react in a live setting. Mm-hmm. Like, cause I know what moves me. Like me and my guitar player always talk about it. Like if you write something where the whole time, you know what I mean? You're doing this the whole time you're playing it. It's getting you going. It works. It doesn't matter what it's called or what the technicality of it is, you know? It's just like, I know this will work. I know this will get people moving. And that's really all I mean, like it's hardcore, you know? Like I'm just trying to get people to have feelings.
That's what I tell people. Go for like, if it feels too simple, just go for low hanging fruit. Low hanging fruit, you will usually do the job.
I mean, there's a certain thing about like, people will say, oh, you know, this is easy. Like, oh, they're not, there's no like, oh, they're playing open 1-3-4. And it's like, yeah, but some people play open 1-3-4, but I play open 1-3-4. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, Hatebreed has a 30-year career on open 1-3-4.
Bro, it's about attitude. Like
straight up.
Anybody can play anything, you know, but it's the personal spin that you put on what you're doing that makes it your own, you know? There's only so many notes on a fucking guitar, and they've been explored by pretty much everybody. That's the thing that'll make it different, right? Like my version of it, somebody else's version of it, it's always going to be different based on attitude and, like you said, swag. You know what I mean? Like it's the way that you approach it and the way that you go about it. It's like, for me, it's like flavor. You know what I'm saying? Like we've literally, like the whole reason people started to leave the countries they were in was for spice. You know what I'm saying? Like
imperialism is for spice.
That's it, man. It was all for spice. It was just like, you know, my food tastes like shit. I bet they got good shit over there. Yeah. We're going to try this out and see what we get, you know? And it's like, you know, you mix things together and that's what creates that spice. That's what creates that kind of like, you know, the recipe, if you will, for what you're doing.
Right.
You know?
So coming to where you're at now, what were the bands when you were growing up? What was playing in the house? What were you listening to?
Really early as a kid, I guess like my dad was like really into Rolling Stones and Aerosmith and shit like that. So like you got to figure this is like mid 80s. So I'm getting like the Run DMC version of the Aerosmith stuff. So that was like my introduction to hip hop. And then my parents like they divorced or whatever. So they split up. My mom was super young. So she was like really into hip hop, like starting from like probably like 89, 90. She got like immersed in hip hop. So I was listening to like Chubb Rock and Das EFX and, you know, probably like Snoop and Dre when that first came on the scene, shit like that. So that was like my car seat era was like very hip hop influenced. And then I didn't really like music that had guitars until 6th grade. You know, like everything I listened to was just like, it was all hip hop. Like I liked classic rock only because like it was like sort of in the background, but like my grandparents were like, my grandmother listened to like Ave Maria and like my grandfather listened to Sinatra, you know? And then my mom was like strictly into hip hop. and like Black Sabbath, sort of. You know, like when she was a kid, she loved Black Sabbath. But in the 90s, she was super into hip hop. So my sister got me into like Hatebreed and Clutch and Downset and E-Town. Because I'm from Elizabeth. My sister grew up with E-Town. She had like the demo tapes and like the early version of Time to Shine. So she put me onto that. And then later on, she made fun of me because she's like, yo, you know, I tried to show you Korn in like 94 and you were like, that shit's terrible. Fuck that. You know, but she like played it for me and exposed me to it, but I didn't care. You know, I was like, I'm going to listen to like DMX, you know, and Notorious B.I.G. and Big L. That's what I listened to. So she got me into that stuff. And that's really, I think, what like sent me in the direction, you know, like I got into Hatebreed. I got into that. Then it was like, you know, Slayer. And then it was like Chimera and like Dying Fetus. And then I got exposed to like really weird death metal shit from there, you know, and like, you know, a couple of Kazaa searches here and there. And, you know, you find yourself into all sorts of stuff. I got big into Slipknot because it was like sort of the perfect mixture of like heavy with the hip hop influence. And then that just kind of like, you know, opened up to like Sepultura and then Soulfly. And then, you know, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. But I started going to shows probably like 6th grade. And I was blessed with meeting the dudes in NJ Bloodline and the guys in E-Town, guys in Agents of Man at an early age. And then like, you know, starting to go to VFW hall shows and stuff like that and getting exposed to hardcore. And at the time, hardcore was like super inclusive. It was like, you know, there was like strictly hardcore bands, but there was also like weird, they called it deathcore at the time, but really it was hardcore death metal. It was like hardcore with a growling vocalist. So like I got super into that. And that kind of like really was like, I guess, you know, like the foundation for me getting into hardcore bands and playing in hardcore bands was like the death metal influence hardcore stuff. And I was never like super into the punk stuff until like later on. You know, like I guess the closest I got to like punk was probably like One for One, which had like a very obvious punk influence. But like at the time, I didn't know that. I was just like, One for One rips because they play those, you know, hip hop China parts. And like, so I'm going to fuck with that. And like when that part comes on, you know, I'll go nuts.
You just wait for the breakdown.
Right. That was it. I was just ignorant. But yeah, so that was what was really like going on for me. Like, I think like super hip hop influenced, you know, like very, very much like embedded in like the culture of the time for me. Like that 90s time was just very, very much like all sorts of hip hop.
Well, I find it like, I mean, because obviously you listen to Bayway, you're like, there's hip hop. There's obviously a hip hop head, right? Writing the lyrics and vocals for this shit. But
yes,
what I find is it's so embedded in hip hop, but at the same time, it's so hard. Like it's 100% hardcore.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, somebody like these guys have the references like straight up. They're like live both. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like it's just sort of like it's where we're from. You know, like the culture is extraordinarily hip hop influence, but like you have these kids that like came up in the hardcore scene, you know? So it's like, you can't avoid hip hop influence where we're from. And you wouldn't want to, like, it's such a huge part of the culture. And you know, it's just having that like really aggressive hardcore influence on top of it. It just like, it meshes really, really well. It's almost like weird. It's weird to me that people don't see how both of these communities kind of move, you know, parallel. You know, like there's so many similarities to what's going on, you know, and it's like, it's just like, you know, it's like, it's counterculture.
Yeah.
You know,
like from both sides, like both are extremely counterculture.
So it's like, we definitely came up with like, you know, and a lot of the bands that are from Elizabeth, like, or Union County, like where we're from, they're all like heavily, like NJ Bloodline had hip hop parts in the early 90s in their songs. E-Town, I mean, it's pretty obvious, you know, what's going on there. you know, like, but even Agents of Man was very like hip hop, like driven. One for One had the hip hop influence, you know, like even bands like Fat Nuts and other bands that like are kind of like less known or whatever, they had like these obvious hip hop influence, bouncy parts that I think make hardcore really, really cool. And Hatebreed took from all of that, you know, like it's very influenced by all of those bands and kind of made it more mainstream to do because they had such huge success doing it. But yeah, I mean, even like if you listen to the bigger Hatebreed records, it's all very bouncy.
It's all bouncy.
Yeah.
It's all breakdown.
I mean, it's all breakdowns, all parts you can jump to, you know? And then, you know, you have like the more obvious stuff too, like the body count and stuff like that. I remember when I heard Ice-T on 6 Feet Under. They had that like that one, it was One Bullet Left was the song. And I got the sampler and I was like, oh my God, like you could do that? You know, like you could like straight like, cause Ant was like still screaming on E-Town stuff. But like at the time anyway, like the Renaissance hadn't dropped yet. So like I remember when I heard like Ice-T doing like his stuff over death metal, I was like, fuck, like this dude doesn't, he's not even screaming. He's just rapping. He doesn't give a fuck. He's not trying to be anything other than himself. I thought that was so cool. And for me, it was like completely groundbreaking. It was like, oh, okay. Maybe there's an avenue for this.
And like there's those other like more mainstream records. Like what's the Anthrax did one with
Anthrax did one, Biohazard did.
Yeah, the Biohazard one's so good.
Right. I mean, that was insane.
Yeah.
I feel like Onyx was like such a smooth transition because they were so aggressive and harsh sounding vocally that it was like just made sense. But I think even like a lot of the Rough Rider stuff was very like hardcore adjacent. You know, like DMX's vocals were like, I mean,
he's one of the hardest rappers. Like it's crazy.
Dude, I remember seeing him at Woodstock, you know? And like even early Kid Rock, like I know he's not really very popular now, but if you listen to his earlier stuff, like, you know, yeah, it's heavier and it's definitely hardcore influenced, you know? So like there was a lot of that kind of stuff, I guess. Like it was like the mainstream stuff that I saw as a kid. Like my boy had like the illegal cable box and we watched all the Woodstock performances. I don't remember what that was. I don't remember what year that was.
Not 99. Was it 99?
Might have been.
The infamous, the shit.
Yeah, where they
storm.
Where they fucking set the whole place on fire.
Yeah, and I think like Green Day got in a fight with security.
Yeah,
and,
Red Hot Chili Peppers came out naked.
Yeah, with the socks on.
Started riots.
Legendary.
Yeah, crazy.
Who would have thought you invite a bunch of punk and hardcore bands to play a fucking giant fest?
Well, I think it's funny because like I was watching a documentary on it and like somebody brought up something like super interesting. It's like, you know, a lot of people blame the bands, right? Oh, the bands, they were this, they were that. But it's like no one analyzed why people were so angry at that time. Like, how about that? Like, why was the crowd so fucking angry? Like, you know, what was happening politically or just in general that like made people pissed? You know, why was the general population unhappy?
That's usually the question, because then the art is also going to reflect that.
I mean,
so,
right?
Why are the bands so mad? Why is the world?
I think it was like, it's interesting. Like you had bands like System of a Down and Slipknot and like all these bands that came out at this very specific time, you know, and like it really reflects the politics of the day. Like, you know, like 80s politics is why we had punk.
90s, we got new metal.
Right.
Crazy.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I feel like the 90s was really cool because it was very much like a culture swap, you know? Like people were just like super open to just like, let's try whatever. Like the 90s were like, we're going to try whatever we want.
It was a lot of collaboration, like a lot.
To it.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Even like on the radio.
Almost a level of unity that I feel like was probably pretty scary for
higher ups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. You got it.
Because if they can't control the general population, then they have no power, right? So
God forbid communities come together. That's dangerous in itself.
You're speaking my language.
Yeah.
They're up here talking about 51st state, which is crazy. So I'm not even going to get into that. But
listen,
I think there needs to be a lot more handshaking going on.
I personally fuck with Canada, but I don't know that there needs to be a 51st state. This is stuff that's above my pay grade, my friend.
I can tell
coffee and breakdowns, brother. I got nothing else.
The only upside to that would be, and I know this is in a lot of musicians' minds selfish, but we wouldn't have to get visas anymore. That's the only thing. But
I feel like it would be a lot easier at the border because I really do. I get disrespected at the Canadian border. I will say that. Shout out Canadian border. Listen, I'm not speaking negatively about you guys at all.
No. It's all respect here.
It's all right. Right. As I get, searched very, very much so in July. But I've had some fun times there, I've had some.
Every New Yorker I've talked to that comes across to play, they get ripped apart. Like anyone from like the East Coast, like New Jersey, New York, like Pain of Truth gets stopped, Combust. You got like they need to chill.
It's rugged, man. It's rugged.
Where's the weed at? That's what they're like. Where's the weed?
For me, it's non-existent. That's the crazy thing. I got 19 months sober, right? And so for me, I laugh hysterically at the situation because like there's been 1,000 times in my life where I've been like worried, like, oh, fuck. Is there something in my bag? I don't have that fear anymore. But like, what's funny is, and I was talking actually just with my drummer, we flew to Florida for like four days. And I'm like, even now, knowing that I have nothing, when they stop me for anything, I'm like, fuck, what do I have?
Is there something?
What do I have? And it's like, brother, nothing. You have nothing, but you're just afraid. TSA is fucking crazy.
They're getting even more rights to do things, which is not something that I'm a fan of either. So I'm worried. We have to cross the border on Saturday to renew our visas. And I'm like, even as an American, it stresses me the fuck out.
Yeah, I imagine it does. It does.
And I'm going like back to my country, which is weird.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But politics aside,
crazy times we're living in, my friend.
It is scary, but I'm holding on. You know what I mean?
Well, if you don't have hope, you don't really have much.
It's true. And so just keep your head in the music and do your thing.
That's it. I use everything that like upsets me or makes me mad or whatever. I just channel it, into music immediately. I try to take any like, overwhelming feeling that I have, whether good, bad, indifferent, anything, I just channel it into music. It's like, it's been like probably the most valuable therapeutic tool that I've ever had in my life. Probably the only one that I've had in my life that's like, consistently helped me. So like, I just try to like do everything I can to like I'm the type of motherfucker that when it hits me, I got pull over on the side of the road and I'm like in my notes.
Yeah. Voice memos and shit.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. I'm like, I'm not going to say it now, but I'll be like, hey Siri, put a reminder on my phone, but I'll hit her with everything, So if I ever pass, hit my phone, figure out how to unlock it. There's some good ideas in there.
It's the memoirs.
Right. I want to have like 5 records come out after I die, like Tupac.
Like Tupac and Prince and shit.
Right. 100%. I got like 12 records ready.
Where'd this Prince track come from?
I don't know. It's got to be AI driven.
AI is scary. I don't even want to get on that. I don't like AI. It's scaring the fuck out of me recently.
Dude, I'll be honest, man. There's parts of it that scare the shit out of me. And then there's parts of it that are like, yo, you know what? Maybe I'll have a virtual assistant. I don't know.
It's pretty helpful. Some way. I'm in school right now. It's helped me a little bit, but the generative stuff is not for me. Yeah,
I had a conversation a while ago, actually with Ant from E-Town. And he was like, yo, AI is going to replace music. What are you going to do with yourself when there's no music? And I was like, yo, I'm going to be unapologetically human. I'm going to leave every mistake in the record. So it sounds like a human being who could barely played it. And people are going to be like, this is so cool. They're going to be like, this is avant-garde. That's what it'll turn into. Yeah. It'll be a oversaturation of like clearly like too clean. It is, man. Every record has the same bass drum on it. Yep. It's kick 10. It's Steven Slate's kick 10. Yeah, I couldn't be any less interested in that. Well, because so you mix as well. Yeah, like I think the coolest thing that, you know, I was able to do probably last year was that first Final Resting Place record.
Yeah.
Where like, you know, they were really open. Like they hit me and they were like, yo, we want it to sound like Suffocation, like 94. And I was like, say less, you know? And that's what we did. You know, we went for a really raw thing. And it was funny because a lot of the tones and stuff that I used on the record, I had used on a previous record that I did for a band called Hog Slammer. So if you go back and you listen to like my obnoxious slam band from the I guess it was like before COVID, but Hog Slammer had like 5 records that dropped, and you'll hear like a very similar snare drum, a very similar bass drum. It was all stuff that I had already done. And when they sent it to me, I was like, oh, this is perfect because I'm finally have a platform for this stuff that I had already done. And people really reacted to the record. And now a lot of people come to me. I just did a record for a band called XL Bully where, you know, we had an argument about how it sounded because they wanted it to be more polished. And I was like, no, you know. And shout out to those guys. I love them to death. They're all friends of mine. I probably won't do another record for them ever again. But I'm willing to die on my hill, you know, as a producer, because like I'm putting my name on it, you know, and the record performed really well. And I went for a specific tonality of what I thought they're an oi band, you know? So to polish an oi band would be a mistake.
It's very weird.
Yeah. So I wanted it to sound like the Ramones records, you know, like you can barely hear the drums, you know, like that's how it's supposed to sound.
Guitar's super tingy, like it's like really top end.
Like we recorded the guitars. That was enough. You know, like there's no post-production for punk.
One mic on the drums. That's all you need.
Brother, it's supposed to be sarcastic. That's what punk is. Like, I didn't understand punk growing up. I thought it sucked. And then my wife explained to me, she's like, you know, this is actually sarcastic. Like, you need to listen to this music and appreciate it from its sarcastic point of view. And as I did that, I was like, oh my God, I have thought about this all wrong the whole time. And now I love it. I listened to like, you know, Holiday in Cambodia and I'm like, oh my God, I missed the point. I'm so glad I get it now.
It's like the whole thing is a middle finger, right? So
it's just a fuck you. It's a sarcastic, like, I don't even want to be alive point of view. And I love that about it. You know? And so that's what I tried to kind of channel when I was doing this mix. And like I said, I love those dudes. I'll never record them again. You know, but I'm fine with it. I died on that hill. The record sounds fantastic. My name's on the record. So that's, you know, sometimes you gotta have that moment where you just kind of like, you know, you fight for certain things. You know, I've done records where people will hit me up and they say they want to sound exactly like FRP. And I say immediately over and over again, like, hey, are you sure? Because they're them and you're you. So you have to understand when I send you back a mix that I've compressed the compression on, when I compressed it, you're not going to like it. You're going to be like, there's too much compression or whatever. And I'm not going to change it because it's what you asked for. So we have to have that conversation right off the bat, you know? And like, I love when a band comes to me and they say, hey, you know, we just really, we like what you've done with the last couple records. Let me, you know, here's the record. Make it sound what you think it should sound like. That's like my favorite shit in the world. I feel like the records come out the best. The bands are always happy. And you know, there's always a few touch-ups here and there. I'm never that guy. Like, I'll do 5-6 revisions. I don't give a shit. Like, it's your record. You love it. Who am I to fucking tell you, right? But there's just some hills you got to die on.
Yeah.
You know?
I've had to, because I do mixing as well. And it's usually for friends, like right now. And so I'm like, are you guys sure that this is what you want? Because I'll do it. But I want you to be sure that, like, if I do all this work, that you're not like, oh, we don't really like that. And then I've got to like revert back. Because then it's going to waste a bunch of time.
I'm super particular about realistic drum tones. Like there's often times where what you hear on the record is probably like where most guys, I feel like, use 75-25 as a split between, their generated tones and their actual tones. Mm-hmm. Are the opposite. So you'll get, like, I love to use room mics and live mics to bring out what actually happened. And I love to record a band all at the same time. I fucking hate tempo maps.
Really?
Trash. People like tempo maps because it's easier to edit. I get that. I don't really like to edit. So I don't.
I understand.
And I'm just more of a prick about getting the right take, And believe it or not, like I did a band from Jersey called Delusion. And we got their drummer. He does not think highly of his drumming, which is the type of person that I love, because they're going to be good, because they think they're bad, which is the craziest thing ever. And he was playing, and I'm like, he's very talented, very down on himself, but very talented. And he's playing, and I'm like, this is going to be great. I knew it was going to be great. And I love the way the record came out. It's very raw. I used a lot of his drum tones, and I was able to record them all in the room. And it created this vibe that you can't get unless you do it that way. A lot of hardcore is seeing a band live, and you're hearing like these really polished records that all sound the same. And like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. Some of them sound really good, but there's certain bands where you hear it and it sounds different, makes you feel different, And there's certain things you just can't do to a click. You can't create energy to a click. You just can't. The minute that you have decided that you're going to use a click on the recording, you've deprived it of its human ability to fall in and out of the click. And some guys are so crazy about the click that if it does fall in and out, they're like, we'll do it again. Or like if you're constantly punching drums, what are you really getting? And at what point should you have just programmed them?
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's cool to have a bass of like a guy playing the drums, but like, is he really playing them? Like, ask yourself.
I hate doing punches. Like I like trying to get it as close as you can in like one take. And then we'll do like maybe 2 times, like just to see like if he does a different fill or something, it's cool.
Yeah. I like the one take energy. Like when I record with Bayway, my drummer comes in with a concept, not a solidified idea. And sometimes what he's been doing in practice or rehearsal for the last month doesn't make it on the record. Because sometimes in the room, I made a face at him that's like, And he's like, oh. And he does what he does. And it winds up being really cool. And here's the thing. It's like, there's something really freeing about removing the expectation of this has to be a certain way. Like marrying yourself to a song is a mistake, right? Because like, it doesn't have to be a certain way. Music's like literally all about feeling, So it's like, if you're creating a vibe or a feeling in that moment, like that's what I like about recording is I always look at it as capturing a moment and not trying to capture perfection.
Ooh, there you go. That's the highlight right there. That's the clip.
Like that's, like wedding photography is a good example, right? When you line everyone up and you try to get the best picture and then you tell the guy, oh, she needs to be photoshopped because she's blinking and this way, you're never going to capture a perfect moment. Like you're not. A perfect moment is actually imperfect. Like the perfect moment is actually when everybody's like on the dance floor laughing and like no one's trying to look a certain way. That's like the perfect thing, right? So it's like when I get guys in the room and they're playing, they're like, oh man, I think my guitar was a little out of tune. It's like, who gives a fuck? Who cares? No one cares about that. Like there's one guitar virtuoso who's watching you, who knows your guitar's attitude. He doesn't mosh. He doesn't move. He probably doesn't buy records. He definitely doesn't buy shirts because if he did, he wasn't buying yours anyway because your attitude. And you didn't play a single solo. So like, what are you worried about? Like, what do you care? You know? Like, I was in death metal for 10 years and we would play and people would stare at us. And when we were done, they were like, that was awesome. And I'm like, I couldn't tell. Because your reaction to everything I just did was fucking mundane. Like, it looked like you could have been anywhere else and been happier. And then you play hardcore and you play open 1, 3, 4, and kids are doing front flips off the stage. And you're like, you know, who needs scales?
This is way more fun. I'm just going to do this.
Why did I blast for a half hour?
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, so this is my thing too, is like, why do you play music if you don't want to play live? And then like, why would you want to play live music that doesn't, like, I hate performing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I feel like that's the same for you. You it's like, it's all about everything happening.
That's the thing. Like when you're like, I talk about like capturing a moment when you're recording, right? Like that's what you're looking to capture, right? Like the fire that a band has when you're feeding off the energy of a crowd, you know? Right. And like so much of what Bayway does is about like crowd involvement or like, you know, like call and response. So it's like, yeah, like that's why we're doing it. Like I like to be in front of a crowd. I like to get people's like feelings. I like to make them feel a certain way when we're playing. Like I like to see the reactions to certain songs. And, you know, I wouldn't say that we write songs specifically for the reactions, but there is something so special about writing a song that you love, not having any control as to whether or not someone's going to like it. And then they love it or they react to it. It's like, fuck, man. You know, that's an addiction in itself. And yeah, I love that aspect of it. I love that aspect of playing live. And for me, like, you know, especially as a singer, it's like the only thing I want to do is like make you feel like whether you leave hating me or loving me, you're going to leave having a feeling. Like you might fucking think I'm obnoxious, but like, you're gonna think something. You're not gonna leave a Bayway set and be like, hey, they were all right. You're either gonna be like, you know, the singer from Bayway is a fucking asshole. Or you're gonna be like, the singer from Bayway is ridiculous. I can't wait to see Bayway again. You know what I mean? Like, but you're gonna feel. I'm gonna force you to feel.
You're gonna have an emotional response.
That's it. That's it, man. You're gonna react. And I'm gonna pull you in. And if you're not reacting, I'm going to jump off the stage and I'm going to make you react.
It'll get physical. No, I'm just kidding. You know,
it's been known to go down. In Tampa, we were playing with Contention. Awesome show. Tons of kids came out. It was great. They were a little afraid to move. I told them, I'm like, yo, if you don't start moving, I'm coming down there. And 2 songs in, I'm like, ain't moving. I'm like, all right, there's a couple kids moving in the front, a couple kids in the back, not moving. All right. 3rd song in, I left the stage, marched the room, and then they all came to the front. And we had a nice time. We had a show. We all enjoyed ourselves. And it was just funny. It's like, you know, I don't know whether they thought I was lying or what, but I was like, yo, I'm going to come down there and get all you motherfuckers. Like, I know you guys are afraid to look uncool on TikTok, but we're going to look uncool together. And
just got to break the ice.
I left the stage, marched the room, came back up. I was like, yo, everybody come forward. Everybody came forward and they all vibed with us. And the rest of the set was fucking awesome. You know? And everybody enjoyed themselves.
Man, yeah, I love that.
You just got to have a little icebreaker sometimes.
There it is. It's okay. You're not going to get hurt. Everybody's cool. It's a fun time.
It definitely is. You know, I'm like, when I was a kid, people didn't mosh in the front of the stage. Like that's a new phenomena.
Yeah.
So like the stage used to be packed full of like 6, 7 people, like 6, 7 rows of people. Then people would mosh in the back. So I've been trying to bring that back. You know what I mean? Because like, I like it when kids jump off the stage and sing along. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, it's also hard because in like when you're doing vocals, you're going from one side to the other trying to like talk to people. like, like when you're singing and stuff.
Yeah.
But when you got the whole front, you can,
Yeah, and I feel like there's like certain songs with Bayway now, especially like as our sets are getting like more diverse with like more of the material that we've recorded.
Yeah.
There's like some stuff that's like really very much built for like the sing-along aspect of stuff. Like, like we have beatdown parts and shit, but like we're not I wouldn't classify us as a beatdown band. You know what I mean? Like there's certainly elements of it. There's elements of death metal. Sure. Like you can find elements of everything, but like, so like having those people come up and be able to vibe is like, is a cool feeling, like,
yeah.
I want people to come up and sing along. Like that's fun. Like you should come to the show to enjoy yourself, and like, there's a ton of like shows where you see like everybody's like standing in the back. And like those people used to be the people that stood in the front because you didn't have to stand in the back to not get moshed on. You could stand in the front, enjoy the show, and people would mosh in the back. Then we need to bring that back. I
agree. I need some people. I need some faces.
Yeah, like let me feed off the energy of the people that don't want to go crazy. And I'm all for it, man. I've been dancing hard since I was a child. So I get it, but like, there's just a certain aspect of like, I think the best thing that we can do for hardcore is get more people to come. I think that's the best thing we can do. So you want to dance hard, you should. And people that are like, have no idea what that is, they should be able to come to the front and sing along like it's a fucking new metal show, And everybody enjoys it, All the singers are constantly like, come on, move forward. Like, let's enjoy ourselves. Like, shouldn't even have to be like that. It should just be understood.
Yeah. I mean, even Pain of Truth, I see, is always like, come up, come up, come up. It's all good.
Yeah. I mean, dude, that guy is exerting 15 minutes of the set worth of energy trying to get people to get involved, And like, yo, he's doing the Lord's work. Like that's what you're supposed to be there for, And as a kid, that's what we did. We all went forward. We sang along for the sing-alongs. Then we went to the back, moshed, you know what I mean? But then you were able to go back to the front, and people were diving on your head, sure, but that's fun.
Yeah, you got pile-ups. You got to give somewhere
right
for someone to dive. You know what I mean?
That's the element that's missing. And I think there's a ton of people that are going to shows and enjoying it. And I love that shit. And if we could fill in that front of the stage and eliminate the horseshoe, I think we'd all be in a good world. I think every hardcore band would be pumped.
Yeah, I mean, I know everyone that I play with would love that shit, so.
Yeah, because it feels like you're playing a show.
Yeah, there's people there.
Yeah, right.
Stop hiding in the back. Come up.
Singing to the guy who's in the back right-hand corner who's singing every word with me. His hands are going. I'm like, yo, come to the front.
Homeboy, I need you. I need you up here.
Yo, brother, I'd love to take a breath if you want to sing this whole
Yeah, I need a breather. Let's well, man, we talked. I had notes and we just kind of blew through it, which is sick.
I love that.
Yeah,
that speaks to what we were talking about, man. Just unapologetically human.
But what's Bayway got coming up? You were talking about some new record.
Bayway
got some shows.
On May 12th, we have a new single coming out. It's our first single coming out with Trustkill. And then June 11th, we have the second single that drops. And then the record comes out on July 4th.
Yo.
So there's a new record, 10 new songs, nothing that we've released in the past, all new stuff coming out on Trustkill. Shout out Josh Trustkill. It's been an incredible experience working with this label. And, the freedom that we've still had, even though we're working with like a major label, is insane. And it's like just really cool to like have somebody like embrace like the Bayway culture, like the Bayway ideas. And like, he hasn't changed anything about the band. Mm-hmm. He wasn't like, let's do a singing record. It was like, it was like, yo, let's just do more of the same. And, like I've played the record for some people and they're like, yo, this might be the heaviest Bayway record ever. I'm like,
damn,
what?
I thought the shit was heavy already.
That's how I felt about it too. Like a lot of the stuff that we wrote for the record, we wrote like in like a 3-week span. Mm. When we got signed to Trustkill, Josh was like, I'd like to do a full length. And we were like, oh, that'd be great. And then like, I guess we all kind of got on the phone like, all right, so he wants to do a full length. We got 3 songs. what y'all want to do?
God damn it.
So we wound up just like writing them, like, you know, like I think having his belief in us really motivated us to write really cool stuff. And I think, you know, you're going to hear a lot more songs that are like very much like in the tone of Currency. You know, it's a very, very heavy, but very catchy at the same time. A lot of sing-along stuff, but like the breakdowns are still there. And a lot of attitude. I tried to step up my hip hop delivery on this record and like really bring it to the next level. You know, like similar to kind of like the stuff I did on Cease to Exist and like some of the earlier stuff. So I'm really excited about that. And the first track is called Malocchio, comes out. It's like the Italian word for the evil eye. So it's kind of just about, you know, people seeing you have success and maybe not being too keen on it and wanting to see you fail desperately, but not me, bitch. You got the wrong one over here. So yeah, that's what this shit is about. And it's a very heavy song, very catchy, very cool, very New Jersey, and very true to who Bayway is as a band. So I'm very excited about it coming out. And we got, you know, a ton of stuff that's kind of getting announced, and there'll be a tour that gets announced when the single comes out that I'm very excited about. And yeah, a lot of cool shit coming up that I can't really talk about yet.
Right.
But you'll see it in the next couple weeks.
Yeah. I think the new, because you said May 11th?
Yeah, May 12th.
May 12th. Yeah. So the new single will be out.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's all. Hey, do you want me to send you a copy of it so you can play it or anything? Or?
I mean, I can do that. I don't usually play, but I can run it.
Why not?
Let's do it.
Yeah, why not? But yeah, that's what we got going on, man. There's a ton of shit about to get announced, and yeah, I mean, we're gonna do a run up from New Orleans all the way up to Tie Down. Starting May 23rd. Don't quote me. I think it's the 23rd. So we're doing that like whole run from New Orleans all the way up to Tie Down. Got a couple really cool shows that we're playing. So like, yeah, I'm really excited about it, and I'm excited about where the new record's kind of like at, and what's gonna come out. And as it starts to roll out, it's gonna be interesting.
I'm excited.
Yeah, man. Me too.
I didn't expect for you to drop a full LP on me today, so I'm happy we had that.
Yeah, man. It's crazy. We've been able to drop a lot of music in a short time.
Yeah.
And you know, it was part of a strategy for us, was to like stay super relevant and to be able to really like hone in on what the band's sound is, you know, and really build something. And it's been a successful venture so far. So
yeah,
you know, we just keep writing and keep having fun with it, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, keep screaming Bayway, motherfucker. Just see how far it takes us.
Bayway, motherfucker.
That's it, man. That's all day.
It's the game is there. I watched the video. I can't remember what the song, but it's the one y'all put out like 3 months ago, the newer one.
Yeah, Currency, I guess.
Yeah, Currency. Yeah. And you had like the 360 cam at the end, just going around like you went to the Boost mobile store or some shit.
Yes. Yeah.
And
I was walking around the city of New Brunswick, and I was going inside of stores and getting people to Bayway motherfucker me. And you know, you do things and you're like, you don't even remember doing them because we did so much shit that day. So like the afterthought of that video, like when shout out to Theo Ciccarella, he does like all of our media stuff. He's insane. But yeah, when he put that edit together, I like saw some of the after stuff that I did, and I was like, this is so ridiculous. Like
the bathroom.
Yeah, dude, the bathroom is great. That kid in the bathroom, actually, shout out to him. He's been posting a lot about how hardcore saved his life. He's sober. He's done doing drugs and shit, and he's a big Bayway fan. So like, shout out to him. Appreciate him. And yeah, like just crazy, man. Just a crazy overall experience. And like, you see all the dumb shit you did, and you're just like, man, I'm so ridiculous. Like, I mean, I'm literally an insane person. I don't understand how these dumb ideas that I have keep working.
It's because it's just authentically like happening. So there's no bullshit.
Anything. Like, dude, he came to that video shoot and he was like, so what are we going to do? And I'm like, yep. He's like, so what's the idea? I'm like, well, we're at a Mexican restaurant and we're going to fill it up. We're going to play a set. and then whatever happens, happens. And that was it. That was the idea. And it like just went crazy.
It was sick.
Yeah, it was insane.
It's like
for my life.
The shots of everyone singing the words, like just going around like the three. I'm like, man, this is like people just spitting the lyrics the whole time. I was like,
dude, it was honestly like, eye-opening. Like I didn't realize people knew it like that. And like, it was like shocking. Like when we did the, like around the table shot, and like the song was like sort of like faintly in the background, and people were like surrounded, and like they knew the words, like every word. And I was like, holy fucking shit. Like it was like, I was like, oh my God. Like I figured people would know the chorus maybe, but like they knew the whole song. And I was like, this is insane. This is crazy. Like, I don't have those expectations. I just think that it's fucking cool and fun. And like, I enjoyed making the song, and it meant a lot to me. And to see it mean a lot to other people is just like, you can't, like, how do you put that into words? You know? Yeah. It's just crazy.
It's sick. Jay, I appreciate you for hanging out today. I appreciate Bayway. I love just watching the shit come out and everybody just fuck with it so much. Even friends, they'll be like, do you fuck with Bayway? I'm like, of course I fuck with Bayway. Like hip hop and hardcore together with like some crazy New Jersey shit going on. Like, yes.
I saw something really funny where people were like, what is Bayway? And people were like, it's New Jersey hardcore.
Yeah. It's the essence.
Yeah. Don't try to classify it as something.
Yeah. It's not rapcore. It's New Jersey hardcore.
That's what it is. Right. Right. Shout out to the kind folks at Reddit for, classifying us as New Jersey.
Set the record straight.
Right. We are New Jersey, the genre.
Perfect. Just one last question before we go. What's your favorite city for beans and breakdowns?
I hate to say this, but it's got to be a New Jersey place. I mean,
if it's not, what kind of person are you?
I don't really know. I would say, shit, it's a tough one. I would say Asbury Park has some great coffee.
It shows.
Has some great breakdown culture, whether it's Convention Hall or Stone Pony back in the day, or even the Saint. Now it has House Independence, which we're playing June 14th. And then, it had a couple shows in like a couple basements that were dope, but like it's always sort of had a very hardcore breakdown culture. And now it has a very barista culture. So, I would say Asbury Park, New Jersey.
Hell yeah. I haven't been to a show there, but I've watched countless videos of shows in Asbury Park. So
yeah, it was a place for shows for a long time. And it still is. It's very embedded in the culture of Asbury Park, is like sort of the music scene. And, now Asbury's a different thing than it once was, but it still has, it still is built around like music, which is cool.
Yeah. Well, Jay, again, thank you so much for hanging out, man. It was such a fun time.
I'll see you in Canada in July.
Hell yeah. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Beans and Breakdowns. I want to say a huge thanks to Jay for hanging out on the podcast. Be sure to check out Malocchio, the newest single from Bayway. Keep an eye out for show announcements and for that LP that he was talking about on the episode. If you've enjoyed the podcast, please subscribe and leave a review. You can find out more information about the podcast by following us on Instagram at Beans and Breakdowns, or on the web at beansandbreakdowns.com. Until next week, be sure to stay caffeinated and wake the fuck up.